I'm here with my fellow NBC HWC coach, Coach Barbie D. And one burning question that we've had is why do so many intelligent, successful people know exactly what they should do to improve their health and wellness, yet they struggle to follow through? And that's what we'll be discussing today. So, today, Barb.
Great, thanks. Yeah.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for coming on for this session today. Okay, so let's get into it. Why do smart, successful people still struggle with their health?
Well, intelligence doesn't necessarily create habit change, okay? So a lot of times, busy parents, smart, intelligent people have a lot of conflicting priorities. And especially if they're deep into parenting, we have soccer practice, we have band concerts, we have ballet recitals on top of our work and our career and our commute. So it's not necessarily that they don't know what to do. A lot of times it's just the priority and not putting themselves first.
That's a great point. Not putting themselves first, right? Like you're on an airplane. What do you always see with relation to the oxygen mask? If you can't breathe, how are you going to help someone else breathe?
Exactly.
Right? Like Tony Robbins always says, many
Yes.
people know what to do, but they don't do what they know
Yes.
because it's easy to think about it, especially when it comes to health and, going to the gym or just working out, period. And it just sounds so much better than it really is. Like,
Right.
right.
Exactly.
I'm one of these people that loves quotes because it sort of gets a message across in just a one-liner. One quote I would have for this is most people don't have an information problem, they have an implementation problem.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, we are loaded with information, but for us to actually implement things consistently is the big problem there.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's easier to just continue to gain knowledge and not actually put it into practice. Knowledge, watch another podcast, read another book, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you
Right.
just open your phone and, notifications
All of
slap you
it's
in the
right
face.
there.
Like, you
Yes.
can't avoid it.
Right.
A good example is people say, I just want more money. And if they get more money, what are they going to do with it? Right? But more money is going to get you just higher numbers in your bank account. But what does that lead to? What is the money going to get you ultimately? What is your why going to buy you with that money? Right? So you got to know deeper what the real reason is, the driving force, and that's individual for each person.
Right. Correct.
You know? So a quote I would have for that is knowing and doing are two different skills.
Definitely.
Knowledge does
Definitely.
not lead to results, action does.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. I agree, coach.
Why do so many people lose weight only to gain it back in whatever period of time?
Well, that comes down to more of an identity shift and a lifestyle shift. I've gained and lost over the years the same 20 pounds.
Got to get rid of
And
it. It just keeps on haunting.
it comes back and it brings some more friends with it.
Yeah, right.
So that comes down to an identity shift. And people are like, oh, what do you mean by identity shift? That's an identity shift that will need to take place because you're going to have to change your lifestyle and habit change. And habit change comes along with identity change. And you have to decide the person that you want to be. And that is what's going to catapult you to not only losing the weight, just creating the lifestyle that's going to keep the weight off.
Absolutely, the lifestyle. That's so key because if you just try to change a couple habits and it's not really working for you and then you give up, that's not going to
Mhm.
help anything. On the other hand, if you just have a short-term goal of losing weight for, say, like an event like a wedding, in 6 months,
Right,
I want to lose, whatever, 20, 30 pounds.
right.
And so people will end up working really hard towards that 6-month goal because they knew
Right.
what they wanted to do in 6 months. But then after the wedding, it's like, okay, I can just go back to the same crap I was doing before.
Right, because I reached the goal. I
Yeah, I
looked
reached the
great in
goal.
the bridesmaid dress, in the wedding dress, whatever it was. Had a great time. Looked good for the gram. That's what the kids call it, the gram. And now, okay. But that's where I'm talking about the identity shift. That's where your identity needs to change. Who you are needs to change, right? Who are you becoming? Who is the person that you're becoming that is living that lifestyle that is going to continue it after a goal is met? Does that make
It
sense?
makes total sense, and
Yeah.
the identity part is so huge because
Mm-hmm.
if you have an identity of I am a healthy person versus I just want to lose some weight, it's huge. I am a healthy person means you get up each day thinking about how you're going to make yourself healthy versus getting up and saying, I can't have that pizza today because I need to lose 20 pounds in a couple months, right? So the shift is I get up in the morning, and from the time I wake up until the time I go to sleep, I'm doing things that are relevant to my identity, which is being a healthy person, you know?
Right. And if you're living in the mindset of restriction, of constantly restricting yourself, that is always a recipe for disaster. So I can't have the pizza. So you're already starting the day and that process in a negative mindset instead of waking up being like, I get to choose, right? What I'm going to do today, how I'm going to be. Am I going to be that person again? We're talking about an identity shift, a lifestyle shift, and that starts with the person you're becoming. You mentioned if I had more money, it would be money in my bank account, right? Well, okay, so people say they want to win the lottery, same as they say I want to lose 30 pounds. If I win the lottery, everything's going to be great and I'm just going to do this, right? But what happens? We hear people who win the lottery a lot of times lose it all because they're still the same person, right? They're just person with $30 million, right? So there's been no identity shift. Same with people who are looking into being healthy or losing weight. Those short term goals, to lose the weight is just a short-term goal. That's not the whole scenario. The scenario is the habit change and the change of the lifestyle, right? So if you don't change that, if you don't become the person who can maintain that, then the weight's going to come back.
Absolutely. And it's such a great analogy with the lottery because, I've said this several times is that if you take someone who doesn't know how to manage money and you
Mm-hmm.
drop $30 million in their bank account, how long is it going to take for them to lose that money because they never had the management skills in the first place?
Right. In
It's
the
it's
first
very
place.
similar to, and I've said this before, I've asked this question, um, if someone's trying to lose weight and they had a genie out of the blue and said, if you rub this magic lamp, genie comes out, and the genie said, how much weight would you like to lose by tomorrow when you wake up? And you say 25 pounds. So you wake up in the morning with all of your current habits, and you're 25 pounds less. You're going to be like, what do I do with this?
Pizza now.
Yeah. So since I've lost weight, I can go eat the pizza. But they wake up with those habits and they continue those habits, which, so yeah,
You're
very,
right.
very important there. That's why I always preach that people have to develop the habits, the sustainable habits and behavior change that'll take them to that healthy place that they want to be, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
the goal isn't just losing weight, it's becoming the type of person who can maintain a healthy lifestyle. That's kind of what you just
Right.
mentioned there. So, what are the biggest health mistakes people make? My clientele would be busy entrepreneur parents, but we're all kind of busy nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Busy people, busy parents. What are the biggest health mistakes people make?
I would say thinking that there's a perfect time. There's no perfect time. Oh, August 1st is a Monday. I'll just start August 1st.
Yeah,
I'll just wait till after the holidays. There's no perfect time. The perfect time is now. Again, it'll still go back to the identity shift that will help lead to someone who can sustain a habit change lifestyle. Because changing a habit is not easy. It is not easy. There's no sugarcoating it. It's not easy changing habits. If it was easy, everybody would stop smoking. Everybody would stop vaping, right? That's not easy. Everybody would, stop binge eating in their emotions when their feelings are hurt. Just things of that nature. Anything that's not healthy for us. If it was easy, we would, we'd stop. And then that will come to the decision. You brought up Tony Robbins. He said something one time that resonated with me. And he said, people don't make decisions. Most people don't make a lot of decisions. And that's why their decision making muscles are weak. And he's right. Because why don't we want to make decisions? Because then there's some type of commitment to that. Oh, I made this decision. Now I got to stick to it. There's some type of commitment to it, right? So it's easier not to make the decision because if you can decide something and you can commit to it, you're going to succeed.
right. So if information isn't enough, what actually creates lasting behavior change?
Mm, Good question. Accountability to yourself, right? We disappoint ourselves all the time. We lie to ourselves all the time, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Think
I
about
did
it.
that today.
And so what happens is then we don't trust ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes it can be good to have an accountability partner or a workout buddy or somebody who can, something that you're accountable to, something or someone that you're accountable to when you're on the journey and you're on the path to the change. Because it all comes down to change, right? It's not just a goal of losing weight. That's only part of the scenario because if you stick to it long enough, you are going to lose the weight. Again, it goes back to what do we got to do to make sure that it doesn't come back on? That goes into the habit change and the identity shift.
Right.
So
Little,
accountability, I believe accountability is one of the biggest for that.
it's
Accountability.
huge. Another one would be self-efficacy, believing that you can actually do it.
And I do think so many people struggle with that, struggle with self efficacy and confidence, and just don't think they have the ability to do it, or it just seems so far away. It just seems so far. But you know what? You're never going to get there if you don't start. You have to start, right? And every
Absolutely.
step each day, you take a little bit steps each day that are going to get you closer to it. But you can't get there if you don't start. And that goes back to the putting things off and waiting till August 1st because that's on a, Monday. Yeah. Self efficacy, accountability, and just the deep down desire to make a difference for yourself.
And when you have small wins, like even like hey, I went for that 10-minute walk today.
Yeah.
People discount things like that and say, "Oh, it was only 10 minutes. I was supposed to walk for 30 minutes." And then they're down on themselves because they only got out there for 10 minutes, but that's a walk. That
Right.
10 you can get I teach on 10-minute workouts, literally. I have a full-on 10-minute workout, like where I time myself and I do cardio and weights within that workout. So 10 minutes
Oh,
is
yeah,
huge.
you can.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
and it really helps, especially if you do HIIT type training where you have little,
Yes.
explosive
Yes.
bursts like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so habit
Yeah.
formation, accountability that you mentioned, small wins.
Gotta celebrate the small wins. Like you said, people just beat themselves up so much. you know? Yes. And you know what, Steve? My biggest thing, and I tell my clients, comfort is expensive.
It is. Oh my gosh, the
It's
most expensive.
expensive. You are going to spend wasted time in your comfort zone. Time is our most finite resource. Can't get it back,
Right, exactly.
right? So, the longer you wait to get started, that time in that comfort zone, that's expensive.
It is, and we all love sitting in it, don't we?
Oh,
But the
yeah.
sooner you get out of it, one quote I would have for that is accountability helps close the gap between intention and action.
Oh,
What does a health coach do that most people don't realize?
well, one thing we need to think about is what coaches don't do.
Hmm.
Okay. We don't diagnose, right?
Right.
We don't counsel. Those are not roles of a coach. You mentioned earlier guiding. And so, as a coach, what we do is partner with a client to help them reach the goals that they want for their life. But we're not counselors. If at any time, for us, what our scope of practice looks like, I do believe that as coaching has become very prevalent in our world today and in our society, we see a lot of coaches. I don't think a lot of people really know what a health and wellness coach is. I think sometimes they see it on Instagram or they see it somewhere and they think they know, but as board certified coaches, we operate from a different level of professional experience and education. So our ethics and our code of conduct is going to be held to a certain standard as well. So that's what you're getting when you get a board certified coach, as opposed to somebody who's not. So when you see those letters out there, when you're looking for a coach, you see that NBC-HWC. If you don't know what that means, look it up.
Right, right. Yeah, it means holding yourself to a set of standards. Right.
And we hold ourselves to a set of standards and we walk that walk, right? So when we were talking about accountability earlier, okay, we're holding ourselves to a set of standards. Yeah, we're doing that. So do you want somebody that's holding themselves to a set of standards as well to work with you?
Right. And I think it's each individual person's based on their goals and things like that, but it's
Mhm.
how well do they want the coach that they choose to work with to be able to get them to their destination.
Right.
Ultimately, they're making the decisions, but if they choose to work with a coach, what kind of coach are they going to pair themselves with to get them to go on that road and be the bridge to their ultimate destination, which is their best self, really.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think many people think that coaches are just there to give advice and tell people what to do, which is totally the opposite, right?
No.
Coaches ask questions, they help clients discover solutions, they're
Right.
guides, they help clarify priorities, and probably most of all, they help support sustainable behavior change, which is what people want to be able to get them
Right.
to their highest best self
Right. And that's what we've been discussing this whole conversation, right? That
behavior.
habit change and being sustainable, and what does it take to sustain the habit change? And that, again, kind of goes back to the identity shift and becoming that person. And sometimes people are just stuck and they need somebody, you know, to what's nice about a coach is that a coach isn't necessarily subjective. We're on the outside. We're not their friends and their family and the inner circle of them. We're somebody who meets them where they are, listens, makes sure they're heard, and asks the questions that need to be asked to help them reach the goal they're trying to on their own. They can discover it on their own, but sometimes they just don't know how to get there. So that's a big part of our job.
right? They if they can discover it on their own,
They would.
well, yes, and
Yeah.
many people try, but
Hmm.
number one, how long does it take to do that? And number two, are you gonna stay on that path until you reach that destination, or would it help you to get somebody that holds you accountable to help guide you along that path? And that's why people look for coaches in the first place. I mean, we keep talking about Tony Robbins, but he has said that he has multiple coaches. Now, if there's anybody on earth that I would think would not need a coach, it's that man, right? He's telling us he has multiple coaches. What does that tell you about the regular, normal people like us, right? So, yeah, the way I think about coaching is, especially health and wellness, is health coaching isn't about telling people what to do. It's about helping people discover what's best for them.
Right,
Help
exactly.
them discover it themselves, not telling them what's best for them.
Exactly. Perfectly said.
Thank you. So, how can someone identify a qualified health coach? I think you touched on this a bit, but
Yeah. Well, I guess in the area, if you're looking for a coach, you will definitely want to look for the credentials. No one can display behind their name the NBC HWC letters if they haven't met those requirements to have them. Again, with a board certified coach, you're going to get a coach that has gone through extensive, rigorous training, who has to abide by a code of ethics and a set of standards, evidence-based practices
Mhm.
to help a client get to where they're going to go. And so if you want to know if you're working with a board certified coach, you're going to be noticing the qualifications that come with their name too.
Right, and you can verify that. You can go to the
Hmm.
board directly. I mean, this is the same board who
Yep.
certifies, doctors, nurses, health practitioners. So
Correct.
if you're interested if someone's interested in taking their health coaching or their health and wellness to a stronger level, do they want to look for the professional training, you know, ethical standards, scope of practice, but the national board certification, right? That shows that someone went through rigorous training and
Right.
standards to be able to obtain that certification, which shows, like you said, behind their name, NBCHWC. And
Yes.
basically they're saying it's literally the gold standard in health and wellness coaching out there right
Yes,
now.
it is.
There is no other higher standard at this point in time than that national board
Correct.
certification. So that's something people really want to think about when they're trying to spend their time and
And
effort
their money.
working
Honestly, time and
and
money.
money, but
Yeah.
and someone they choose to work with, they need to ask themselves, is this someone who's had the training to be able to help me get through and help me create actual lasting behavior change, right?
Right.
Which is so key.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it mean to be a national board certified health and wellness coach? National board certification demonstrates that a coach has met rigorous standards in helping people create lasting behavior change.
Yep.
Are there any, in closing, are there any success stories or anything that comes to mind that you can think of that where a client has benefited from health and wellness coaching?
Yes, there's several stories. And I think the biggest, to put them into one, I'm going to say what I find the most rewarding part is when you see the client get it. If that makes sense. They get it. They finally get it. And that light bulb goes off
Yes.
and they're like on the road to change. And that is rewarding because then you're like, yes, 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 like this is what we're doing. That is the most exciting point I can say in any coaching agreement that I have had with anybody. It's when they get it.